San Antonio. Welcome to All Things San Antonio podcast.
Always shocks me.
Your favorite host and realtor, Brad Burns, and your second favorite host and realtor,
Ken Carter. But I also get the best podcast guest, so what are we going to do? We're here today with Kerry Niester of the Golf Fellowship. I'm excited about this. I've been waiting and trying to get somebody in here that we could talk golf with.
All right. I'm your
So,
man.
Brad, we're going to ignore you for a while.
Okay, sorry, Brad.
let's do it.
The Golf Fellowship, it's a weekly 9-hole golf league that people can participate. There's a great networking. You actually get a lot of people come out every week. I've been very surprised. I've done it for the last 2 weeks. I tried it out, became a member immediately. I'm just going to praise you at the beginning because it's like one of the things I wanted to do is I like to play golf.
Uh-huh.
I want to find more ways to play golf with more people and meet new people.
Yeah.
But also can do some networking and things like that.
Sure.
And everything because it's all good. Everything needs to lead to each other, right?
Yeah.
And within the first couple weeks, have met. We're in real estate. I met an electrician contractor, licensed contractor that is on the Rolodex now to get some to take
Good.
Brian.
Yeah.
Fun guy.
Yeah.
And then another Brian with Edward Jones does financial planning and stuff like
Right.
that. We had a great conversation yesterday. We met a chiropractor that's looking for lease space possibly because we're looking to do some development. Like already within a couple days, like 2 events, it's like, man, there's your local San Antonio business people that you can network with.
Yeah.
So now that I've said all that, we'll start back in the origin story. We always talk about the origin story.
Sure.
And I know you're not a native.
Yeah. No.
I wasn't either. I'm a transplant. I was a military brat.
Right.
He's local, born and bred.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what's your origin? What brought you to San Antonio? How did you get here? And let's kind of go from there.
Yeah. So I'm from Iowa originally.
What part?
In between Iowa City and Des Moines on
Okay.
I-80. I grew up with my grandparents on a farm in a little town of 1,500 people.
Wow.
They farmed about 600 acres and cattle, hogs, sheep, corn and soybeans, kind of the traditional Iowa farm. And
Straight
of
up
course,
stereotype of an Iowan.
yeah. I was super fortunate. In spite of my parents separating young, I was able to grow up with them, my mom's parents, and of course the values that come from growing up with grandparents, an older generation, that really valued family and those dynamics. So we always had large holiday gatherings. We always were involved in different things. And cousins, I know like third, fourth, fifth, sixth cousins.
Wow.
Most people don't even know their first cousins.
Or
know,
not.
so
Or don't want to.
yeah, or don't want to.
Don't claim them.
That's honest. That's honest. Absolutely. And and so there's a lot of things I certainly didn't appreciate or think about at the time so much, but certainly I think set the foundation for who I am and growing up. And then my dad, I formed a relationship with him, in elementary school again, and I would visit him, and he was in the golf business. And so he eventually became a head professional at a 9-hole country club in Iowa, which 9-hole clubs are a dime a dozen in
Atypical,
Iowa.
yeah.
They're very typical. And because of that, in the shorter year, you have all these 9-hole leagues, right? And so in Iowa, 9 holes is kind of where it's at, on a weeknight and during the primary portion of the year. So I would visit him and I would play with every Tom, Dick, and Harry and Sally too, and so I got to know every personality in the book, and I learned how to mingle with a lot of different people and appreciate the more challenging personalities as well. So I think that was a real blessing. And then I got the honor of playing as a walk-on at Iowa State University in golf, and so played at a pretty decent level of amateur and competitive golf. So I had a real mix, and those are the ingredients I really think of for my life and how it pertains to the Golf Fellowship, and how that came about. So I was there at Iowa State, and I was kind of spinning my wheels. I wanted to go and design golf courses, and so I went into landscape architecture. And I was about the time that I was to get out of college. I just wasn't getting as much into the golf course stuff as I wanted to, and I was kind of aimless there for a while, and I decided I got to get out of Dodge, and I went back to a company that I'd worked as an intern for building golf courses, and they asked me to come down to McKinney, Texas, up north of Dallas, and so they brought me down here. I didn't want to go to Texas. I wanted to go back to Florida or North Carolina where I was before. And they were like, well, if you want a job, you'll go to Texas. So I thought, okay, we'll go to Texas. And so came down here, was working in the trenches doing irrigation design or installation for golf courses. And that summer is 58 straight days over 100 degrees, and I worked 57 of them. And, Mr. Light complected here, I was going to be in trouble quick. So I got out of that, got back into my degree field, and then I met my wife and got involved in a church, and we got married in '99 and went into the ministry about that point. So we worked leading our teen and youth ministry in all of Dallas-Fort Worth. So we were covering a lot of ground, 150 kids and 60 adult teen workers, and we were kind of fish out of water. We had no training for that, but we just gave it our best and gave it our heart. And in '01, then they asked us to move down here to a sister church, and so that's what moved us here to San Antonio right before 9/11, and got down here, did that for another year and a half or so, and got out of that, and then got back into my degree field, and I've been working as a landscape architect basically ever since. Now in 2007, then I realized, okay, I want to get back into golf. I'd grown up, I got out of school, I wasn't playing, got married, got developing my career, had 2 children, had Nicole, who's 24, in Dallas, and we moved down here, had Jonathan, who's 23 and in the Air Force in Korea right now. And, and so as life has it, you got to do your responsibilities. Well, 2007 rolls around, and I said, man, I'd really like to get back into this, because all I was doing was playing best shots, once or twice a year. Yeah. And that just wasn't fulfilling. So I talked to some friends at church. I said, hey, do you want to, do something once a month even? So, let's just get out and play, but let's commit to it, because I realized that, hey, let's go do something. Yeah, let's do it. And 3 months later, you realize you never did it, and let's go do that. And so I realized early on, I've got to have a schedule if I'm going to get myself out to do what I want to do. And I wanted to do it with friends. I wanted to play different courses. And I also knew that I couldn't do weekends because my kids were young, and that was prime time. I mean, we're talking 7 hours door to door for an 18-hole round on the weekend when you're leaving your house, going playing, get back, whatever. It's a long time. And so that's too big of a commitment to a young family man like myself. But growing up in Iowa, now we kind of bring this full circle, this is what I brought here. Well, what about 9 holes on Tuesday nights? And at the time, it really evidently resonated with a bunch of people. I thought, okay, maybe we'll get 8 guys, friends. Word of mouth, we had 26 guys at our first event. And it's like, okay, that's a surprise. And then about a month and a half later, we had 150 guys on an email list. I'm like, what's going on here? And what I realized was that it really hit a specific niche or demographic of people like myself that were professionals that just were working. Working, family, profession, in that back and forth cycle, and they just weren't making time for themselves. And so I realized real quick, okay, you got to stop this right here or get serious about it. And I'm OCD enough that I got a DBA that fall and established the Golf Fellowship, and here we are 19 years in.
That's crazy. How big is that email list now?
Yeah, it's much larger, much larger. Yeah.
And most of your growth has all been through like word of mouth, and because that's how I found out. It was a guy that I played golf with. He goes, I was like, hey, it literally happened. I said, hey, what are you doing this week? We're gonna play golf, or what's going on? Mm-hmm. And he's like, I can't. I'm headed out of town, but I got my Tuesday league that you can come as a guest or whatever. I'm like, and it was kind of nonchalant. I was like, Tuesday night league. I was like, there's a golf league, which is to me is like. I assume most golfers are like me. It's like they just play for fun, and and it's so much. It's different. I bowled as a kid. Like you always had bowling leagues,
Right.
And it's it's that
I'm
good
from a bowling state as well.
Yeah,
so,
it's a good mixture of the 2 and everything, and it's like you get to play your own ball, which is big.
Absolutely. I it's always going to be play your own ball.
Yeah,
But
gives you options too.
absolutely. But with a team twist.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can
Go
get on
through-
I can get on my soapbox a little bit.
Let's do
but,
it. Let's
you know,
do it.
Break it down.
Yeah.
golf can be, I mean, I grew up playing competitively, right? Golf can be a very narcissistic sport, you know, and it can bring out the narcissist in everyone.
And sociopath.
And sociopath. I mean, it really is kind of dangerous, I think, in that way. But there's so much potential with it from a social standpoint, from a community standpoint. Because when we think about the things that actually, we can come together in and kind of be on the same level, there's very, very few things out there. Right? Now, I mean, of course, there's financial limitations with golf. But from a political, from a religious, from those standpoints, we can all meet on the golf course and have a good time together. I've always kind of said, well, if I'm in a CEO's office, I'm insecure and I'm the fish out of water. But if I flip, if we go out on the golf course, then I'm kind of the man, is I'm a good golfer and we can talk mano a mano. And that's a big deal, leveling the playing field. Now, the team aspect, we're always, I did this very intentionally early on because I want everybody to root for each other, and golf can be one of those things, you hit your first shot in the woods and then, depending on the day you've had or whatever, it can just be a downer for the whole time. But if you got someone rooting you on and lifting you up and, you're on the same team and so we've built a system basically that rewards good shots. It awards good holes. It awards, of course, good rounds. But even if you don't have any of those, you can still be on a good team that night and win money. Yeah. And so there's a beauty to that, I think, that's kind of built in with the Golf Fellowship. It's absolutely essential to what we do, and community is at the basis of that. Now, a lot of people see the Golf Fellowship, is it a Christian group? That's a big question I get, and it's not. Now it formed with my friends and I, and from church, and I am a Christian. Absolutely, but we aren't evangelistic at all in our group out there. I just believe in fellowship and in the purest form of the word, that we need each other. We need community. Yes. We need encouragement, and if we can make the time, which we absolutely need to do, we need to make the time, be very intentional about it, get together, and if we can, of course, it can be light and fun and all that, but I'm there if you need me, kind of a thing. And so that's where the repetitiveness of it comes. And it's really, that comes back to my family roots, and the values that my grandparents, the values that I learned in the community of playing at my dad's, country club there and meeting all those different walks of life. And I've met them all. Yeah. So
it's interesting. What I loved about it is, like, you talk about community, and it is a diverse community. Yeah. Like age, gender, national, but whatever. There's all walks. There's two. Like, now that I'm a member, so there's two clubs. I play poker. Oh yeah. And the card house. It's the same thing. It's like and it's these types of activities, right? Yeah. That people are passionate about. Like, as soon as you get involved in your passion, all of the other check boxes, like I had to do jury duty, like when it literally said race, and it says by law you have to check, and I put mixed/human. Yeah, it's like what do you care what my race is, right? And like at this, like all that stuff just washes away. Absolutely. And now it's like, and what I think is, I get passionate about golf too because I love golf, because it's one of those things that's like, as we get older we can still compete. There's levels, right? So you
Yep.
depending on where you're at in your game, you play from farther up or back. Levels of playing field, so people of all different skills can come together,
Yeah.
play together. It also it challenges your ethics. Like if
does.
you call your own penalties. I people we've seen it the last 2 weeks in PGA where golf a grain of sand moved.
Oh,
And he goes, I call it, and it's like nobody's gonna see this, but like as a golfer, and it's like you can't, if you really are true to the sport, and that's the thing is most people are. It's like golf is one of those things that like when you love golf, it's like, hey, I'm gonna take my hat off and I'm gonna shake your hand at the end of the game. It's like
it's a great revealer.
It's such a great revealer.
Absolutely. If you want to really find out who someone is, take them out to the golf course.
There's someone that we had on I played golf with, and I literally saw him dropping a ball and said, "Oh, here it is," and I was like, "Dude, I'm never gonna send you business. I'll never send you business."
Yeah, that's a big deal.
It is. It's like because again, it's a revealer of a person because you're not playing against anybody else. You're playing against yourself and nature and the wind and everything and the course and all that. Yes, you are playing like you're trying to score better, but like it's not like a traditional sport where you got a defender right in your face.
Right.
It's your mental. It's your mental.
Right. And we've kind of developed our own handicap system.
Yeah.
That's a
Mine's
9-hole
gonna be
based.
real high. I
you're
played the first two.
Sandbagger.
I felt I do like it's hard to get started. I play back nines really good.
Oh yeah. That's the one thing about the golf fellowship. You don't want to be a back nine golfer.
God, it's tough.
In
I'm
the
gonna
golf
start coming
fellowship.
earlier and playing 18 holes and then play
Right.
nine.
Yeah. There you go. But I totally lost my train of thought. Where did we go, Ken?
Where were we at? You're not paying attention. Oh, we're talking about like ethics of it and everything. A true revealer.
Yeah. It's we just I really appreciate that you recognize that we have all of those different demographics out there. We've made we've been intentional this year about inviting women into the group. We've got
I played with two yesterday. They synced us on a lot of holes.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
I wasn't.
Yeah. And so we've got a chapter in Austin as well, and we've got a couple of women members up there. We've got 4 down here now, and then all ages, like you said, and then backgrounds, races and whatnot. So I'm really proud of that aspect. And as much as I love golf, I really love putting on the events more. And that really started about the second or third year in. I just realized, I'd played at a high narcissistic level early on, and I was kind of a head case as a golfer through college, and then after 7 years of not doing something, you realize, okay, that was actually a treat and a blessing, to do that because I didn't have it for a long time. And so, I can still have days where I wish I could take back a few reactions on the course, but most of the time I'm out there and I just love the camaraderie. I love getting to know new people, and it's really, that's what makes the world turn, is getting to know people's stories. And if we can learn more about people's stories, you realize just how much closer you are to each other than not.
It was fun the other night when we were afterwards at the quarry, and I don't remember the gentleman's name that we were sitting with.
Robert Smith.
Smitty. And it was funny because I connected with him with my dad because they had very similar activities when they were in the military. Like they were the clingers of MASH. So they were able to get some green. My dad was he was getting me crazy stuff in Egypt and stuff like that, just getting it put onto a plane.
Yeah, I felt like a fly on the wall just sitting there.
His stories were crazy, moving it around, and then, it was fun. But that's the thing. It's like not a lot. You get a chance to sit down with people that are different generations and talk to them and learn their story, learn who they are, and that's the connection. It's great.
It's really a passion of mine, to connect people, and it's one of the kind of in our slogan is golf, compete, connect, and that's not easy to do for a lot of people, and it's hard to become part of a new group, frankly. There's apprehension there. And so I always try to do whatever I can. I reach out to someone that has, you were talking about word of mouth, and those are the best leads. But we have, over the last 10 years, put money into advertisements, paid advertisements on Facebook and whatnot. And we've generated a lot of leads, especially out of town and other chapters. And that's great. But I'm making whatever effort I can to reach out, even connecting them with other golfers in the chapter, connecting them before the round. Hey, here's who you're going to pair up with. Just kind of a virtual introduction here. Yeah. Anything I can do to kind of roll out the red carpet of comfort, to help you feel welcoming. Played with a new guy last night, and that was exactly, afterwards he was like, "Thank you for making me feel so welcome," and that's it. I know I've done my job, what I've been called to do, because I think at the end of the day, we want to feel like we're part of something. We want to feel welcomed wherever we're at. We don't want to feel less than, or, we had every aspect of childhood and traumas and everything, but the golf fellowship, man, I'm always going to work to try to help people feel welcome, and that's number one. Yeah.
The how intentional was the Tuesday night thing? Because it seems like it's a perfect night. Because especially being born out of church fellowship and everything, you usually have church on Wednesday nights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot
earlier
of
in the week
for
seems better. Like for me, it's like, man, that Tuesday's like a perfect night, because by the end of the week, family dinner kind of stuff. Again, family stuff gets in the way.
Absolutely. Thursday night, things are. In college, that was Thursday night was drinking with Lincoln. That was like $5. Yeah. So by that time, you were like, I'm pretty much checked out. I've mailed it in for the week, and I'm out. But a lot of league nights happen on Thursday night, and you're right. There's something about Tuesday as kind of the sweet spot. I'm not sure exactly how we landed on it, but certainly Wednesday was that was taken with church midweek nights. Monday was like too soon. Yeah. But Tuesday we've gone 2 days, and it's either been okay or it's been darn right struggle, and Tuesday night's just that perfect like to kind of refuel.
And for the golf courses too. It's probably
when we started this, it was absolutely, yes, please, can you come? Can you bring 40, 50
golf has
people?
Changed
It's totally changed.
COVID made golf. And it brought me back out, because I had played all the time.
Yeah.
And then kids, family.
Yeah.
The whole story. And it's like, if I had something then, though, like if I would have known, then probably would have played like on Tuesday nights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like, it's as soon as COVID hit, like, you started like, what else can you do outside?
Yeah.
And it brought the woodworks out. And
You're
then
right.
now YouTube golf. And And we're talking about videoing. I was like, when we were talking about that, like, when you do an event and stuff like that, you could almost make a whole YouTube series of like who's winning and stuff like that, and like there's so much, like my mind starts going crazy.
There's so many downstream opportunities, right, of what you could find, but yeah.
How do y'all do it in the winter when it gets dark early?
Well, typically we're kind of a daylight savings time group, so that's when our 9-hole groups are. Now, we do play once a month on weekends, or maybe a couple of more times, during each month where we play 18 holes. But when we get to the winter months, there's really not the time of day to be able to do 9-hole options. So we'll switch to maybe one 18-hole round a month. Now, a couple of years ago, we did go down to San Pedro, and we did a series there under the lights, a 9-hole course. Yeah. And so that was a lot of fun. We might do that again.
That's a good one.
So, but it's always nice to have a little break too. Honestly, I grew up in an area where you were forced to take breaks because of the winters. It kind of builds the excitement for the next year. Running all of it. I've run well over 2,000 events over the last 20 years.
Crazy.
I like a little break. And it's something to get excited for.
Yeah. And with all the simulators things nowadays, you could have like a lot of opportunities like with that stuff too.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not really a simulator guy. I struggle even with the Top Golf.
Top Golf's bullshit.
Yeah. I've had
Because
fun
you
there.
can't bring your club.
Yeah.
Like if you bring your clubs, you look like a jerk.
I think there's some trauma, honestly. I was on a team at Iowa State University, and in the winters, all we had for an indoor facility was like the giant rec center, and we could hit 50-yard shots off of, the artificial turf. It's something that just is very limiting to me, and I just want to see it. I want to see the path of flight, and so I have a hard time really getting into the simulators, but they're popping up everywhere, and it's one of those things you're keeping golf in place.
Yeah.
That's really. And it's needed. I mean, in order for golf to continue, COVID was the best thing that could happen to golf. Mm-hmm. It gave more life to golf, I think, in the current model. But what's interesting, how COVID brought you back into golf, COVID almost shut us down. And so life circumstances and whatnot, I decided to try doing the golf fellowship full time in 2023. I thought, we've grown up to 200 members this past year. We're in 4 chapters. Time's right. Let's do this. A little bit more growth, and I can cut the cord on everything else. And we did just the opposite. We went backwards, and we cut in half over the following 2 years. And so I barely held on, honestly, and it was really hard. I went through some really stressful times and high anxiety, and it was really, really difficult because this was my dream, And so what COVID did, of course, it brought people in droves. Well, what that does, it's simple economics. You have, where before we're getting phone calls to bring your group out on Tuesday night, supply and demand is totally flipped. Yeah. And so those phone calls stopped coming.
From the golf courses?
Yeah. And the prices went up. So there was double inflation in golf. You had regular inflation, and then you had supply and demand because we can inflation. And, and so we couldn't get the rates. And so not that I've really ever sold golf fellowship as discount golf, because it's not. You're going to pay more. I mean, we're making a profit. We mark it up because we put a lot of work into it. I spend, at least 20 to 30 hours a week, and that's with my day job. So, and so we're going to put a lot of time in it to make sure that everything is set up so you can just sign up, show up, and play. We don't want you to have to go into the shop and make the transaction. We want you to show up, find the cart with your name on it, and warm up however you want, whether that's in the bar or whether that's on the range, And so you can come late. You can, if you need to get there late for whatever reason, you can show up late, get a cart ride out, and then finish your holes at the end. So, we're gonna do whatever we can to make it as convenient as possible for you, to make sure that you don't have an excuse to come out. Because it's not for us. This is for you. This is for us. This is our club. And so so what COVID did, it was really hard. So I really had to focus on what are the values? What do we have to offer? And it's a lot of the things we've already discussed. The community aspect. It's hard to. I mean, Austin, just for example. I know this is all things San Antonio, but Austin's a different market completely. There's fewer fewer public courses there. Yeah. There's high demand for tee times. So we actually, we're coming in there a week and a half or so before. It's totally different here. We have early contracts here. It's all booked throughout the year. There, it's like week to week. So we're booking those times, giving people an opportunity to come out, because most people are just playing by themselves. They're showing up and playing with other people.
The course that y'all have that on Monday, y'all at the
Twin Creeks Country Club. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's an opportunity to play a course that
you can't play otherwise.
You can't play
unless you know a member, right? And so that's kind of a new thing we're throwing out there. Once you hit critical mass with numbers, you can do lots of fun things. And so we're trying this out, and definitely, if you're a golfer and you want a chance to play one of Austin's premier country clubs in Twin Creeks, July 14th, that'll be an opportunity. July 14th or 15th, whatever that Monday is. we'll play in the afternoon. You'll have an 18 option or a 9-hole option, just like we do down here. And,
How does that work? Because I've been doing the 9. So like, how many people are doing the 18-hole option?
Not a lot. It's brand new this year,
Yeah.
But we've had it over the years where people, will even come out earlier, like you joked about, and to get that earlier night in. And so we're typically able to offer something for just a minimal markup, to go ahead and play 18 if you can come out earlier. It's not competitive right now, that other 9, but the first 9 that you play is the competitive one, and then your back 9's for fun. So, but you get to experience the whole course that way. And in our main group, typically shotguns at 5:30. So
yeah. So you said that because typically you start that's when you said that you play the front 9 and then the back.
Right. So just for example, like last night we were at Silverhorn, so we had 2 groups that went off at 3 and 3:10. They started on the front 9 just like we did at 5:30, and then they played their competitive 9 against us, 2 hours earlier. But they got that out of the way, the front 9, and then they went off and played the back 9.
So you can't use your second 9. I'm telling you, my second 9 is so much better.
I see you angling. And we do have.
I'm just asking the same question. I'm asking the same question in 10 different ways.
There's some logistics, right? There's some logistics that make that a little more challenging. But we did it actually last week at the Quarry with a couple guys that I needed to compete in match play because we have match play. We have all the games, so we had match play that I needed them to have matches for, and so they went and played the back 9. And then they came and joined up with us and played the back 9 again. Okay. So they got a warm up in that one.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's favoritism.
Yeah. I don't know if they won, though. So
there's some really good golfers out there, too. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing is what's great about it is there are brand new golfers. Mm-hmm. Also, people that probably have only played like maybe for 6 months, it seems like.
Yeah, like the woman you were mentioning last night. Mm-hmm. She's new to golf, but she has a passion for it, and the key is that we have maximum triple bogeys, mm-hmm. And we emphasize pace of play.
Yeah,
and so
it's played quick.
Yeah,
both weeks.
Both weeks have played quick. I mean, we always have to come back to it. I mean, pace of play is just something you're always going to have an issue with. And so it's mostly just tips and tricks, that you need to incorporate for pace of play. And, we could have a whole conversation about that. But, the people that are more novice at it, they get it, and they're willing to pick up their ball when they've reached that point. But it's mostly like, if we're riding in a cart, let me drop you off at your ball. I'm going to go to my ball. I'm not going to stay here and wait for you to hit your ball, and then we'll drive it. So, ready golf, it's just kind of common sense things.
I like to walk a lot, but I also don't like to carry my clubs. So I force that a lot. Like I'll hit, and like I said, I'm not straight, but I am typically farther down than everybody else.
Yeah.
And so like I always put my bag on the right side, on the passenger side, and even Brian last night, he's like, I was wondering. I was like, I'm going to walk a lot.
Oh, got you, yeah.
And so we go to his ball, and then I grab 3 or 4 clubs and my putter and my rangefinder. I said, I'll meet you up at the front. Yeah. I just start taking off, and that way he can have the cart, do what he needs.
Right.
I'm going to be I'm just walking down the fairway for the most part with a little variance on the right, a little left.
Yeah.
Not too far.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And I don't want to help other people look for their balls. I was like, I'm the guy that drop. Like if you're in the deep shit, just drop a ball and go.
Yeah.
My son, I told. He's new to golf, very new to golf, and he didn't make a trip, but they were going down to Corpus for like a bachelor party. Mm-hmm. They're supposed to play golf and everything, and I gave him a bucket of balls. I said, Zane, here's 100 balls or so. I said, take all of them. I was like, you hit the ball, just don't even worry about like if you're not, don't even worry about it because I said just drop it. Keep on going. I was like, don't look for balls.
Right.
I said the number one thing that you can do to become like good at golf because people will invite you back and work and everything is to don't slow them down.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Exactly.
And that's
a hard thing to do. And
YouTube golf is killing it.
You've had five good holes and then you hit one in the junk. You're like, oh, I want to find that, and play it. I hit one, I had a pretty good round going last night, and then I hit one left. And, we've got a 1 minute rule. I think golf is
5 minutes.
5 minutes, and so we have a 1 minute rule now. People definitely extend on that, but that's the guideline, that we want to follow. We want to make quick decisions. Our rules are in your favor because everything's a lateral hazard, even out of bounds. So if you hit it into something, we play point of entry, line of flight with a stroke penalty. So, there's even times where I tell people, why are you even hitting out of there? Don't try and hit out of there, because the likelihood of you keeping it in there, right? It's like,
Get a good
bring
lie.
that ball back, take your stroke penalty and move on.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to be, because golf is that thing. It's like everything like out within this, because it's league, it is. But like when I've just now recently, it's like tried to be a little bit nicer to myself.
That's good. That's good. That's very important. Very important.
Because there's sometimes it's like you make a good drive and everything, and you get down there and there's like a dirt spot for no reason because you're playing at the Alsatian in Cashville where everything's dirt and you barely have grass anywhere. It's like, give yourself a little bit of grass to hit off.
Right.
You need some compression here. So, I used to be so bad.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's hard to grow grass down here.
It's so hard to grow
It takes a
grass.
lot of water. I don't have water out there in Medina. Like
Well, the thing is, like, that water is for farming and irrigation, and they're farming and irrigating it.
Yeah, thank goodness for the rain that we've had recently. So the courses were really, just beautiful right now. And the quarry was just monster grass. And so, like to your point, when you hit it in there, it was just easy. It's like, that's gone. I'll take my drop.
You've talked about a month and a half ago, about 5-6 weeks ago, I played Silverhorn. Mm-hmm. And number, 5, that par 3?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like in 4 coming around.
Yeah.
There was no water. Then yesterday you got the island again.
Yeah.
It was
6 along 6 and 7. Yeah.
It
was amazing.
6 and 7.
We were totally commenting
it's
on
like there was
too.
no water over there before.
I mean, it was almost empty. It was depressing. But yesterday it was full.
The ground was spongy. Awesome. Like when you're walking in the fairway, and I was like, man, I wish I could hit out of this, but my ball's over.
Yeah, doggone it. Yeah. No, it was nice. Yeah, we've had some really nice weather here, so we're definitely, I'm sure, going into the really hot months. But that's nice too about the 9 holes. Is we start at 5:30, and typically, even on the hottest of days, it starts cooling off there at the end.
Yeah.
And, it gets to be real nice. And then we always have a fellowship component afterwards. Mm-hmm. So it's not we're opening the Bibles. We're going in and having a drink, having food. We've had some sponsors a couple of times where they're getting food for us. But I'm always encouraging people, stick around, talk about your round, talk about what's going on, get to know one another. You never know what you might find out. And like you said, got a couple of leads, opportunities there.
Think about in any entrepreneur should always be like that. When I go out there, the first thing I do is like by the second or third hole, I'm like, so what do you do?
Yeah, right, absolutely.
That's what it's for. But it's how that's conversation. It's like you talk about these things and find out about people, and it's like it's been great. Right. Where do you see it? Where do you want it to go in the next 3-5 years and everything?
Yeah, that's a good question, and honestly, I'm still kind of getting over the last 2 years that were a real struggle, and so this year where we've had growth, we've had amazing growth here in the summer, which unprecedented summer growth. We never have summer growth because I never try to grow it in the summer because people are on vacation and everything. But we've grown by 70 members this year.
Wow.
A total resurgence, and really excited about that. And I want to continue to serve, those who need that, because, one of the things we ask on our lead surveys on Facebook is, what's most important to you? And it's, I'll say competition, just the golf. I want to play as much golf as possible and play different courses, or community, or all of the above. And almost inevitably, 75% of people say all of the above, but there's then a bunch that just say community. There's a lot of people in our community that just need people. We all need it.
And that comes back from the COVID shit.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
People like going into the office. This is one of the decisions I made is like to join us before we part. Like a long time, it's like I want to go to an office. I want to be with other people doing similar things and like have that community, have that fellowship, build those relationships and things. And it's like we've kind of gone away from that in society, and like these types of things are like they are needed. And that's why I think there's a hunger for it, which is great.
Yeah, we have every ability to be as isolated as we could possibly be with our phones and everything, and I'm as guilty as anybody. But at the end of the day, there's a whole bunch of lonely people. I mean, and I'm one of them. If I just get too caught up in my work or whatever, I need people. As much as I don't like people at times, I need people, and that's the reality of it. And I'm an introvert by nature, so I tend to refuel on my own, by myself. But Tuesday nights are a rhythm in my life that is needed, and I see how much other people benefit and appreciate it. I see the need, and I see how good they feel afterwards, and that's the future. So the challenge for me is how do I serve that growing need? Okay, and it's a lot of it is technology, and then that's where that whole mess comes in. And so even with the growth that we've had, I'm kind of reaching the limits of my personal bandwidth. I've got a great guy in Austin named Robert Strayton who's picked up the mantle there, because I thought we had to pull back from Dallas and Houston this year just because my bandwidth wasn't there and there wasn't anybody that stepped up. But in Austin he did, and he's just been awesome. Community builder 101. And but we both have the same challenge. Now we need the technology that isn't just manual entry, one by one. We have a great software, Golf Genius, and there's other great software out there, Unknown Golf, Blue Golf, but nothing's automated.
Yeah.
It gives you all the bells and whistles and all the tools to be super dangerous, but there's a cap. And so it becomes about people again. It becomes about people wanting to serve other people and build and help build community. And it's not glamorous, high dollar stuff, it's that you really got to have a desire to serve. Yeah. And so I hesitate to answer where it's going to go, because it's dependent on several things. Right now we're seeing a lot of growth, and I'm so thankful for it. It's fun, and I hope that we can continue to bring people out that need it, and just as a kind of a message there to everybody, if you're someone who's seen us on Facebook, seen those leads, because I get a lot of like what we call high quality leads, and that answer all the boxes, check all the boxes, and wow, they'd be perfect for the Golf Fellowship, and yet then I never get the reply, when I reach out to them, because there's maybe the timing's not right, maybe there's an injury, or maybe I'm just nervous, and this is who I am. I want to be the same, wherever I'm at, and I just want to welcome you out. If this is something that you see that you could benefit from, and the timing makes sense to you, then come on out and try it out, because we have it $25 off your first event, plus a free drink. So we're trying, and then we've got a $50 rate for membership, and that's for 12 months. That's a 12-month period. So we've lowered that bar.
It's only $50 a year.
Right. I mean, we've lowered the bars about as far as we could, besides just giving it away, to help you come out. There's no obligation, and everything we do, it's not a traditional league from the standpoint of there's an obligatory schedule. No, this is a pay-as-you-play. All of our site games, with exception of the team game and close to the pins, are a la carte. So you can come out and be all about just community, or you can level up and get into the side games and get all that.
Yeah.
So
I donated just for fun.
Yeah, thank you for your donation.
What's great is it's also a la carte, where you don't have, it's like each week you decide whether or not you have the ability to play and stuff like
Exactly.
that.
Exactly.
Like this one, it's going to be in Austin, so I or there'll still be one in San Antonio
Oh, yeah.
this weekend
There'll
too.
still
Yeah.
be.
Okay. And what you're talking about fellowship, and so I would also encourage, like, if people do need that, and
Mm-hmm.
like it started as a Christian thing, but like that weekly thing, like even going to church, like you build that community,
Yeah.
and whether it's not church based or anything like that, but it gives you that same rhythm.
Yeah, exactly.
Of knowing when you have people that are friends that you can like get some kind of support from, and like just have a connection, like just being able, like a lot of people, like, I mean, if you don't have friends that they see on a weekly basis and they get isolated, and like it's a place to get out,
Yeah.
and like
This is what I tell everybody. So this is not about golf. This is about people and about what you need. If your thing is poker, if your thing is crochet, whatever, make time for yourself and friends to do it.
Yeah.
And so that's my, overall pitch, that we need time together, and we need to make time for ourselves, because they thought, 20, 30 years ago that, by this time we wouldn't even need to work, because everything was, we're working more than ever. And so when's enough? We need boundaries in our lives.
Yeah.
And we need points. It's like having family dinners. Growing up, I had breakfast every morning. It was routine. I'm eating there with my grandparents. Every night, we're eating, together. We're in the same area. We need those rhythms with one another. And so, yeah.
Well, if you were having one of those rhythms and meeting with people, and you were having a breakfast taco in San Antonio, we ask all of our guests 2 questions. First one is, what is the best breakfast taco in your opinion in San Antonio?
Wow.
Restaurant, not type of taco.
Right. I had one this morning that was pretty darn good, but it wasn't public. It was a country club. Let's see. And that was rare. That was like first time in 10 years I've been there.
I don't think our audience would accept a
Yeah,
country club
no,
as a breakfast taco place.
It's just, I'm like, what have you done for me lately, taco? God. I've been, I like Tommy's,
Yeah.
Tommy's
Tommy's
is solid.
over there.
That's a good choice.
Which one?
The one that I've been to is over Days of Allah I-10, right there, and I'm trying to think, Taqueria Jalisco.
I sounded like an Iowa.
Yeah, Jalisco, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, those are usually pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it starts off taqueria instead of taco,
Yeah.
you're solid.
Yeah.
And the second question is because this is San Antonio, you got your tacos and then you got your hamburgers. So what's your best burger place? What's your favorite burger place?
Golly. If I had a go-to burger, there's so many good ones. I mean, good burger places are like a dime a dozen here. But if I've, I like a good Chester's hamburger.
It's not bad. He doesn't like them.
I don't like Chester, but
No. But
could be worse.
Chester's is good. Chester's got a solid burger. Like I said, the one on 410, like before my daughter's volleyball games at Alamo High, it's like that was like my parents they'd go to Chester's and then they'd go watch the game. They'd go to Chester's and watch the game. So it's acceptable.
I'm a big fan of I think it's the Big and Juicy at Longhorn.
Yeah.
Longhorn Cafe too.
They tried to sue the actual best burger in San Antonio, which is Mr. Juicy.
Oh yeah, right. I've yet to have that, so I
you gotta
hear
go.
that's
It's
the way
okay.
it's at. Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah.
That's the one. Like
Okay.
it's by far,
Yeah.
in our opinion, which matters.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the check out at the Golf Fellowship, pretty much everything, Instagram and
Yep,
Facebook.
at the Golf Fellowship for Instagram and Facebook. thegolffellowship.com is our website, and you'll be able to sign up as a member or sign up for our upcoming events, and or just shoot me a call, a text, and we can chat.
Come out as you guys. Highly recommend. I love it. First time I was sending it out on Instagram, and I've already got friends that are like, hey, where is this at? It's like, it truly is a great thing. So I appreciate you coming out.
Yeah.
We'll get some more people to come out and support you.
Great. Thanks you so much, Ken.
Thanks, Kerry.
Sweet.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you, Brad.